Welcome back to West New York Living. Now, we've said this at least one or two times in our lives, and I'm pretty sure many of you have mumbled it more times than that. Say it with me. Look at that fool behind the wheel. What are they driving like that for? Now, if you're wondering what your winter driving responsibilities are, and most importantly, your legal obligations, we have answers for you this morning, even when you're behind somebody who's not driving the way they should. Joining me, a man who did not exceed 35 miles per hour down Delaware Avenue this morning to get here, Stephen Ciocca, one of the fine lawyers at Cellino Law. And Stephen is on the IR, but you're going to be the comeback player of the year next year.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to muscle through it.
All right. Well, let's talk about, as a car owner, and is there any different responsibilities I have when it comes to getting my car ready for winter driving?
So it might seem like a common sense answer, but the fact of the matter is so many of us, we forget to make sure that the windshield wiper solvent is in there.
Yes.
It happens all the time. You're driving along in the summer, you don't think about it. The wintertime, you really need that. You're going to want to make sure your tires are properly inflated, because in the wintertime, they do deflate, so you want to make sure that that's done. You want to make sure that all of the regular safety checks are taken care of, but especially in the winter, because your car behaves differently.
Yeah, you run out of that blue solvent, you're in trouble, that's for sure.
Big time.
What about the rules of the road? Do they change when the weather changes?
They really do. So even though the speed limit might say 55, 65, 30, depending on where you are, your obligation as a driver is to operate your vehicle in conjunction with the weather and road conditions that you're faced with. And that goes hand in hand with people that say, well, you know, I slipped on ice, it's not my fault. Well, that's not true.
What about whiteouts? And we've experienced them here in the last few weeks. Is there anything I have to do differently in a weather event like a whiteout when I'm driving? For example, do I have to put my flashers on?
So again, you should put your flashers on. Some cars also have different buttons where you will be able to turn on your fog lights, and then some actually have extra lights in the back. You should turn those on. Probably the safest thing, though, is just to make sure that you are driving your vehicle safely, slowly, and be careful of the guy in front of you and the guy behind you, because they may not be paying as much attention as you are.
Yeah, distance, I'd imagine, matters greatly.
Absolutely.
As we all know with winter driving there. What's considered an emergency in winter driving?
So we get this a lot. Like, a lot of times people will say, well, it's not my fault. I was driving along and all of a sudden I hit a patch of black ice. I couldn't stop and I hit the guy in front of me, or the person behind me crashes into me. That's an emergency. That's an act of God, people say. Well, it's really not, because here's the thing. Black ice only comes during certain times of the year. You have to, again, operate your vehicle in conjunction with what you're faced with. So if it's freezing outside, be careful. You may be confronted with ice. And again, you're not going to get off the hook just because you slip on black ice. You have to slow down, you have to pay attention, and even if you're driving way under the speed limit, which we've all had to do, we live in Buffalo, do it. Because if you slide on ice and you hit somebody, it's going to be your fault.
What should you do if you are involved in a collision or an accident in winter weather? Do the same rules apply? Do you call the police? Do you take photos? What should you do?
So call the police for sure. The thing that you're going to find in the wintertime, or at least what our experience is that the police are going to take a much longer time to get there. So you really want to make sure that you're safe. So that means don't sit there in the middle of the roadway, because other cars may come up and crash into you. We've seen that so many times. So get your car into a safe spot so that you can avoid that second or third crash. I can't tell you how many times that happens. Wait for the police if you can. Make sure you take pictures, make sure you take video, so that what happened is actually well documented. If you can do it before you move safely, that's fine, but otherwise get your car off the roadway, get your car into a safe space, so that you're protected and everybody else is protected around you as well.
Yeah, great information today on winter driving. The personal injury attorneys at Cellino Law represent injury victims throughout New York State. If you've been involved in any type of personal injury, including injuries from auto accidents, Cellino Law can help. Their offices are located at 800 Delaware Avenue in Buffalo. And for more information, give Cellino Law a call at 888-888-8888. You can also head to their website at cellinolaw.com to learn more about all the different services that Cellino Law provides.